They say the best way to hide a secret is to tell it as a joke. On January 5th, 2020, a man walked onto a stage in Beverly Hills, clutched a glass of beer, and told the most powerful people on the planet exactly how they were going to fall. At the time, we laughed. We thought it was just Ricky being Ricky, the edgy British comedian poking the bear for a few million views. But look at the room now. Look at the empty seats, the for sale signs appearing on Montecito mansions, and the names surfacing in millions of documents released between 2024 and 2026. Ricky Gervais wasn't performing a monologue that night. He was reading a pre-written indictment. The air in the Beverly Hilton was already thin. If you go back and watch the footage, you can see it in the eyes of the A-listers. Tom Hanks looked genuinely disgusted. Leonardo DiCaprio looked like he wanted to vanish into his seat. Gervais stood there and did the unthinkable. He brought the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein into the room while the body was barely cold. "Shut up," he told the crowd as they groaned. "I know he's your friend." That single sentence was a localized shockwave. In Hollywood, friend is a loaded term. It means co-conspirator. It means I have your back in the press, so you have mine in the shadows. But as we look at the newly disclosed Epstein papers today, we realize that Ricky wasn't just being mean. He was sounding an alarm for a fire that was already burning behind the curtain. But what exactly did he see that the rest of us missed? Let's talk about the man who has become the face of the golden rule of Hollywood dating, Leonardo DiCaprio. For years, the internet has joked about Leo's 25-year-old cutoff. There are graphs, memes, and entire Twitter threads dedicated to the fact that the moment a woman turns 26, the relationship ends. We saw it with Bar Raffaelli, Kelly Rohrbach, and Camila Morrone. At the Golden Globes, Ricky went right for the jugular, joking that by the end of the nearly 3-hour premiere of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Leo's date was too old for him. The audience roared with laughter. It's a funny quirk, right? Just Leo being a bachelor. But there's a darker side to this quirk that the mainstream media refused to touch until the Epstein files started leaking. The question isn't just about Leo's preferences, it's about the circles he moved in and the people he allowed into his inner sanctum. Because while Leo was becoming the global face of climate change activism, his personal life was overlapping with a network that was anything but green. And one name in those files changes the entire context of Ricky's jokes. Enter Alicia Rimpanefa, sometimes referred in the papers as Alicia Red. She wasn't just another name in the Epstein files. She was a woman who was allegedly dating Leonardo DiCaprio during the height of his career. For years, this was just another piece of tabloid trivia, but the 2024 document dumps revealed something horrifying. While Alicia was in Leo's life, she was allegedly sending emails to Jeffrey Epstein that read like a recruitment manual for a horror movie. In these newly disclosed emails, Alicia dubbed Epstein her love bunny. She didn't just talk to him, she allegedly offered to find girls for him. One specific email from 2010 is particularly haunting. She wrote, "I'll find a girl for you this time, I promise. Europe would be better to find a small girl." Let that sink in. Small girl. These aren't rumors or conjectures. These are her exact words recorded in a legal document. And this was happening while she was dating one of the most famous men on Earth. Now, to be clear, there is no evidence Leo knew what his girlfriend was typing behind closed doors, but the proximity is the point. Ricky Gervais knew that Hollywood's innocence was a facade. He knew that the youthful culture Leo represented was the very thing Epstein was weaponizing. But Leo wasn't the only target in Ricky's sights. There was someone else, someone who built an entire empire on the word kindness. While Leonardo DiCaprio represented the cool side of Hollywood, Ellen DeGeneres represented the moral side. She was America's sweetheart, the woman who ended every show by telling people to be kind to one another. But Ricky Gervais never bought the act. He was one of the few celebrities who openly refused to play the game. He never went on her show. He never endorsed her. He treated her like a ticking bomb. And then, in 2020, the bomb finally went off. 36 former employees came forward with stories of a toxic, abusive, and poisonous work environment. People were told not to look Ellen in the eye. Producers were fired. The Be Kind brand was exposed as a corporate mask. But the real story isn't the workplace drama. It's what happened next. In late 2024, just 3 months before a major tranche of Epstein-related documents was set to be released, Ellen did something drastic. She sold her California properties, packed her bags, and moved to a $15 million estate in rural England. She didn't just go on vacation, she left the country. The question is, why? Why would a woman with that much power and influence suddenly choose the quiet life of the English countryside just as the legal walls were closing in on Hollywood's elite? This brings us to a theory that was once dismissed as fringe, but is now being discussed in the hushed hallways of major studios. Jim Caviezel, the actor who famously spoke out against the dark underbelly of the industry, calls it the eight-armed octopus. It's a network so vast and so protected that cutting off one arm, like Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein, does nothing. The system just regenerates. Caviezel warned that individuals like Ellen and Leo aren't just actors, they are symbols used to keep the public distracted. When the audience at a private screening of his film started whispering Epstein Island, Caviezel realized the public was finally waking up. He pointed out that the media often focuses on the monsters we can see, while the people who facilitate the monsters remain in high society. This is what Ricky was hinting at when he mentioned Ronan Farron. Farron is the journalist who broke the Weinstein story, and Gervais told the room point blank, he's coming for you. He wasn't talking about the actors, he was talking about the executives, the people who sign the checks and keep the octopus fed. And as the 2026 files show, the names on those lists aren't just celebrities, they are the people who own the networks. If you want to see the octopus in action, you don't look at what the media says, you look at what it doesn't say. Think about the late-night hosts, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert. These men have built careers on speaking truth to power. They covered every tweet from the previous administration. They covered Diddy, they covered R. Kelly. But when the Epstein files dropped in 2024 and 2026, crickets. Why the sudden silence from the bravest voices in comedy? Because they are part of the same ecosystem. They work for the same corporations that protected Epstein for decades. This is why Ricky Gervais is so dangerous to them. He doesn't have a late-night show to lose. He doesn't have a studio deal to protect. He is a British comedian who built his own empire, which gave him the independence of the damned. When he stood on that stage, he wasn't looking for a job. He was looking for the exit. He knew he was never coming back, so he decided to burn the bridge while the elite were still standing on it. And as the months roll by and the documents continue to pour out, we're realizing that Ricky's set list was actually a table of contents for the biggest scandal in human history. The Golden Globes recently tried to move on. They tried to bring in new hosts, new formats, and a cleaner image, but you can't clean a room that has been scorched. Ricky Gervais told the stars to accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and F off. It was the ultimate mic drop because he knew the awards didn't matter anymore. The industry is currently facing a crisis of trust that it may never recover from. Between the Love Bunny recruitment revelations, the Ellen exodus, and the looming 2026 DOJ reports, the curtain hasn't just been pulled back, it's been torn down. We are living in the world Ricky predicted, a world where the heroes of the silver screen are revealed to be the very people they warned us about in their movies. So the next time you see a celebrity preaching from a podium or a kindness campaign on your feed, remember the man with the beer on the Beverly Hills stage. He told us the truth. We just thought it was a joke. And as the last of the files are unsealed, the only question left is who else is currently packing their bags, because the octopus is running out of places to hide. But that isn't the whole story, because there's one more name, a name even higher than Leo or Ellen, that is about to be exposed in the next document drop. And what happened next will shock everyone.